Top stories tonight. Establishment of state police in Nigeria receives major support as 36 state governors present position to NEC. President Tinubu to present 2025 budgets to joint session of the National Assembly on Tuesday. Troops of 3 Division Nigerian Army capture kidnapped kingpin in Jos. At least 15 persons killed in RSF shelling in Sudan. Thank you for joining us. I'm Felicity Itu-Odukpani. Let's begin by telling you that Nigeria's 36 state governors have given their overwhelming support for the establishment of the state police in the country. This was as they presented their position reports on the matter at today's National Economic Council meeting, chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima, with the state governors, deputies, ministers, and some presidential aides in attendance. Briefing State House correspondents shortly after meeting, which lasted for over 4 hours, Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State said the establishment of state police will help governors better address the security challenges bedeviling their states. Governor Uba Sani, however, said that the NEC postponed further deliberation on the matter to January 2025. The governor highlighted the pressing need for enhanced security measures, citing ungoverned spaces across the country and a significant shortage of personnel in federal security agencies, including the police and armed forces. He also disclosed that the Secretariat has committed to engaging stakeholders further before the Council's January meeting, where a comprehensive report will be presented.
My friends, the media, today, as one of the discussion we had at the level of our NEC meeting, is the update on the creation of state police. As you are aware, there was a submission by states toward the establishment of state police. Today, about 35 states have already made their own submission for the establishment of state police in Nigeria. And I can say here that from what is available, virtually most of the states are in agreement with the establishment of state police in Nigeria. But today the council have decided to step down the discussion until the next council meeting, because we need to come up with a report from the Secretariat. And after the report, there will be deliberation in the next NEC meeting that is likely taking place in January. And not only that, there's also a resolution in the last NEC meeting, which today the Secretary have also agreed on that. There will be further stakeholders engagement after the final report and deliberation by the members of the NEC. So all we are saying here is that 35 states have made their own submission, and many states are in agreement for the establishment of state police, considering the fact that virtually every state have their peculiarity in terms of the problem we're having of insecurity in our own states. And knowing fully that we have a lot of ungoverned space in Nigeria, and knowing fully also that we have a lot of deficit in terms of number of boots on ground, looking at the fact that a lot of security agencies, the police, the army, and other relevant security agencies have no personnel to cover all the ungoverned space. That is the reason why most of us agree that establishment of state police in Nigeria is the way forward toward addressing the problem of insecurity in our own country. Thank you very much. That is what was discussed.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Dependable ally.
We're now joined by veteran journalist and public policy commentator Emmanuel Aziken from Abuja. Emmanuel, it's good to have you on the news. Some have said that the state police was abused in the First Republic, and that to this day, our political leadership may still be stuck with the weakness that led to its scrapping then. Do you think we're ready for state police with this latest development?
Yeah, it's nice to be here, and I'm grateful to be here. First of all, we must realize that just as the governor did say, the issue of the establishment of state police is contingent upon the present challenges that the federal police is having. The federal police system, it's handicapped. We have just about 370,000 policemen that are presently listed in the federal police system. And out of that number, a reasonable proportion of them are involved in non-police activities. About an estimated 40% of our policemen are involved in VIP duties, some of them carrying handbags for ladies, for VIP ladies as such. So that has seriously challenged the effectiveness of the police as we have it as of today. It has helped in ensuring that criminals have exacerbated activities across the country.
Emmanuel, but how would, because sorry to interject, but how would this actually address that problem? Because before now, we know that states failed to some degree with maintaining state police, and that was among the reasons why it was moved. They can barely manage to pay salaries now. How are we sure that if this responsibility is now moved to them, these things you are highlighting will not be exacerbated?
I would like to draw your attention to the fact that state governors presently expend a substantial amount of their undocumented security votes on police infrastructure, police welfare, and other privileges and other provisions for the police. In fact, state governors today virtually spend about, provide at least, I would say in my estimate, about half of the money or the requirements of maintaining the police commands in their respective states. Hello, does that answer your question?
Well, it's an attempt to answer it, but it still doesn't to a large degree, because we worry about, police being deployed to non-essential duties, like you highlighted, becoming handbag-carrying members of society. How will states being responsible improve policing in Nigeria in the real sense? I don't think you've actually addressed that.
Yes, okay. It will improve policing in the sense that there'll be more boots on ground. Presently, we have there's a shortage of police, there's a shortage of boots, there's a shortage of policemen to man the boundaries of the country. More policemen, because the federal government, as it were, presently does not have the resources or has not made the resources available to recruit and to maintain the required number of policemen we have. Presently, Nigeria has just, as I said earlier, about 370,000 policemen on ground. And out of this, 40% of them are involved in VIP duties. You go around Abuja, you will see policemen hanging around, a substantial proportion of them well-dressed, hanging around the residences of top National Assembly members as such. So that is the situation. And you will see that it will bring more accountability. When you have policemen, the police being a state police, it will bring more accountability to the system. There will be more enhanced responsiveness from the grassroots. Presently today, you have, if there's a situation in the police, in a DPO, so probably in a state, in any state, the DPO does not have to report directly to, the state governor cannot bring a DPO under account. But if you have a situation of state police, a DPO can be brought under account by the state governor. But mark you, in as much as we are moving to a state, as this proposal is going, I also have my reservations. I'm not just canvassing for state police. We should decentralize policing across the tiers, across the various levels of governance. We should go down to community policing. We should go down to local government policing, and even where possible, campus policing. Stopping it as state police, I don't think may bring forth the required result. There's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of fear that Nigerians have been having as concerning state police, that state police will be used by governors for their political agenda.
Emmanuel, it's safe to say, it's safe to say that more scrutiny is required before we go ahead with the state policing. Yes. More needs to be in place. Some questions at least answered before we move forward. Thank you, as always, for speaking with us.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice
night. You too.
Thank you.
Good night. Away from that, President Bola Tinubu is scheduled to present the 2025 budget to a joint session of the National Assembly on Tuesday, December the 17th. The announcement was made by Senate President Godswill Akpabio during Thursday's plenary. According to Akpabio, the budget presentation will take place in the chamber of the House of Representatives. This follows President Tinubu's submission of the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper for 2025 to 2027 to the Senate and House of Representatives last Tuesday. The Senate Committee on Finance, National Planning and Economic Affairs has been tasked with reviewing the documents and submitting their report within 1 week.
His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has indicated his intention to bring the 2025 budget proposals and estimates to a joint sitting of the National Assembly on 17th day of December 2024. That will be at 11 a.m. prompt. That will be in the House of Representatives as usual. So I'm talking about Tuesday next week. So all our colleagues are enjoying to report early so that we can have a few minutes of deliberations before we move down to meet with Mr. President.
The wave of defections plaguing the Labour Party continues, with the latest development coming from Abuja, where Alfred Ajang, representing Jos Halt and East Federal Constituency, has defected to the All Progressive Congress APC. The defection was announced through a letter read by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, during Thursday's plenary session. Ajang cited internal crisis within the Labour Party as the reason for his defection. However, the announcement sparked a rowdy session, with some lawmakers expressing concerns over the latter's content. Minority Leader Kingsley Chinda argued that the latter did not comply with the House constitutional provisions and therefore should be rejected.
The APC's commitment to infrastructural development, economic growth, and national unity resonates deeply with my vision for Plateau State and the country at large. I believe that by joining the ruling party, I'll be better positioned to contribute to the realization of these developmental goals and bring much needed support to my constituents. Effective representation for my constituents as a representative of the Jos South and Jos East Federal Constituency, my primary responsibility is to ensure welfare and development of my people. In recent times, I have found it increasingly difficult to align with the Labour Party's approach to national issues, especially given its limited influence in the current government structure. I believe that joining the APC will provide me with the greater opportunities to secure federal support for projects that are crucial to the people of Plateau State, including improved healthcare, education, infrastructure, and security. Again, building bridges for a greater Plateau and Nigeria. By making this transition, I aim to play a more active role in fostering unity and collaboration across party lines.
There is more. The governorship candidate of the Labour Party LP in the 2023 elections in Bayelsa State has resigned his membership of the party. Udeng's Iradiri, disclosed this in a later dated December 8 and addressed to the party's state chairman. He noted his inability to scale through what he described as intrigues and challenges implanted in the party leadership. Iradiri added that he resigned to pursue his political career on a platform equipped to provide Bielsa with the leadership it deserves. Earlier, we were joined by Mofi Abadoni, a political affairs commentator, who gave us his thoughts on these defections.
Beyond using the Labour Party ticket to get to power, there's nothing like ideology behind it. It's nothing like ideology, because these were men and women who were not originally part of Labour Party. These were men and women who didn't even believe in the ideals of Labour Party, who have not for once even picked up the constitution of the Labour Party prior to that 2023 election. And as a political observer, you will understand that before the 2023 election, most of those persons, most of them, maybe with the exception of a few, most of the people who picked up tickets from the Labour Party were people who were one way or the other denied tickets from either the APC or the PDP. So what you are seeing today, for someone like me, is not strange. These are people who just use the Labour Party to get to power. Now they are in power, and they couldn't, as usual, the usual Nigerian politician with their the mentality of always looking for a shortcut. They got to power through a shortcut. Now they needed another shortcut to get to power come 2027.
Following lessons learned from Nigeria's 2023 general elections and subsequent up-cycle polls, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has released a 524-page report recommending far-reaching electoral reforms. Chairman of the Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, while speaking at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja, says that INEC has identified 142 recommended measures needed to address the general state of preparedness for polls and improve election management in Nigeria.
From the internal and external engagements, the Commission has identified 142 recommendations dealing with general state of preparedness, voter management, voter education and public communication, political parties and candidate management, electoral operations and logistics management, election officials and personnel, partnership and collaboration, monitoring and supervision, election technology, voting and result management, election security, electoral offenses, and the electoral legal framework.
Coming up, NBA President Afam Osigwe seeks independence for the judiciary. That's after the break. Do stay with us. If you've just joined us, you're watching Tonight. A reminder of our top stories. Establishment of state police in Nigeria receives major support as 36 state governors present position to NEC. President Tinubu to present 2025 budgets to joint session of the National Assembly Tuesday. Troops of 3 Division Nigerian Army capture kidnapped kingpin in Jos Plateau State. At least 15 persons killed in RSF's shelling of El Fasher in Sudan. Thank you for staying with us. Let's now tell you that President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Afam Osigwe, says the recent urgent need for greater independence of Nigeria's judiciary. Afam Osigwe said this while featuring as a guest on New Central's political program, Politics HQ. He expressed the opinion that the government's control over judges' salaries and the presidential appointment of Chief Justice are practices that should be scrutinized and reformed. According to him, the current system creates a power imbalance that compromises the impartiality of judges. This, in turn, he says, can erode public trust in the judiciary and the rule of law.
When you talk about judicial independence, in answering your first question, I made a point that many governors make it look as if when the judiciary is funded, they are doing the judiciary a favor. They see the court as belonging to them, and whatever they give to the court, whatever the state does for the court, is something that they are doing out of their own benevolence, out of their own magnanimity. So they boast about buying cars for their judges, building houses for their judges, funding the courts, as if these are not constitutional requirements, as if these are not entitlements of the court, as if the courts must go cap in hand to the governor before they get them. And that is why the judgments of the court that go to show that the judiciary should be independent and should be able to pretend its own judgment, have financial autonomy, present their budget before the legislature, should be respected. That the funding the judiciary should not be tied to the apron string of the judiciary. These are issues we must tackle. But if you're talking about administration of justice, it's an entirely different thing. Some of the judgments emanating from our court, which may have given negative perception that some of our courts do not do justice, have nothing to do with judicial independence, but may be a function of either corruption, poor knowledge of the law, or just incompetence on the part of judicial officers, or some reason making it difficult for the courts to be consistent in their judgment, thereby leading to uncertainty in the law.
How can the judicial system attain financial autonomy when the appointment of justices, or the judges, so to speak, are done by the governors at the subnational levels and by the president at the national level?
So the way a person is appointed does not suggest that because a governor appoints you, a president appoints you, you should not have financial independence. The Constitution has granted them financial autonomy. How you are appointed, how you become a judicial officer should have nothing to do with your ability to control funds or money meant for that arm of government. The judiciary, remind you, is an arm of government, it's an organ of government. So how they get there should be carefully separated from the fact that they are guaranteed financial autonomy. And this financial autonomy is coextensive with the independence of the judiciary. Because when they have to beg for money to be made released to them, there can be some arm twisting. Because a court can also be starved of funds as a way of taking away from their independence to bring them to their knees.
The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime has called on Nigerian youths to demand accountability from the nation's political elite as part of their efforts against graft. This was as the UNODC presented its recent survey on the prevalence of corruption in Nigeria as part of activities marking the World Anti-Corruption Day, where it urged youths to contribute towards fostering good governance and sustainable development. My colleague Amadine Uyi has more.
According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, its recent survey on the prevalence of corruption in the country reveals that about 70% of Nigerians, including youths, have refused to pay bribes on at least one occasion. The UNODC, while presenting the results of the survey recently while marking the World Anti-Corruption Day, says that about 42% of respondents say that they have refused to pay bribe because it was the right thing to do. With the survey showing positive trends that corruption is reducing among Nigeria's youthful generation, anti-graft experts say this is because youths bear the brunt of its negative effects.
Young people are significantly affected by corruption, resulting in severe negative impacts spanning social, economic, and political dimensions, evidenced in unemployment, emigration, and political alienation.
Nigeria's Minister of Youth says that many young citizens are left without hope, pushing them into a life of crime because they doubt there will be consequences.
Economic hardship, lack of opportunity, and weak structures often push our young people towards crime.
Experts present say efforts must be put in place to reduce corruption and improve accountability in the public sector. While many have called on government to strive towards youth inclusion in governance, they also call on youths to demand accountability from the nation's political elites.
We must ask ourselves, how can we further foster integrity, transparency, and the accountability in the public sector? How can we empower our youth to be an integral part of the solution? It is time to give your youth a seat at the table.
Corruption can only thrive in the darkness of a place. By shining our light on it through actions, vigilance, collaboration, we can build a nation. We can build an Africa with honesty and integrity. This is our commitment. This is our responsibility and our shared purpose.
The UNODC calls on youths to be watchdogs in the society by calling out cases of corruption, saying that they have a role to play in fostering good governance and sustainable development. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
The Senate has directed the arrest of the managing director of Julius Berger PLC for failing to appear before its Committee on Works to address delays in the execution of the Itu-Odukpani highway contract. Senate President Godswill Akpabio announced the resolution during Thursday's plenary following a point of order raised by Senate Minority Whip Osita Ngu. Ngu urged the Senate to approve the arrest order after the company's repeated failure to honor invitations. Several senators voiced their frustration over the company's disregard for the Senate's summons. In his remarks, Senate President Akpabio affirmed the chamber's commitment to holding contractors accountable, emphasizing the importance of transparency and responsibility in public projects.
Do resolve to issue a warrant of arrest to the managing director of JV to appear before the Senate Committee on Works to explain what they have done with the finances of the federal government given under their control. If we have power to appropriate, we have power to oversight. We also have powers to follow the money to the letter. My opinion is that the discussion is totally unnecessary. We should have used 5 minutes to finish with this issue. The Senate has no business discussing a contractor. This also shows evidence of proper supervision by the ministry. So what we are going to do is that since we have summoned the company, and the company has rebuffed the summons of the National Assembly by implicating the Senate, then we should immediately take the next step of issuing a warrant of arrest to compel the managing director of JB to appear before the Senate committee. And then you fix a date. Those in support of this say aye. Those against say nay.
The FCT Police Command has announced the arrest of several suspected criminals, including a one-chance syndicate group. The police commissioner, while parading the suspects in Abuja, says that 13 vehicles were recovered in the last 2 weeks, with 8 recovered in the last 7 days alone. Our correspondent, Idong Joseph, has more on this story.
According to the police, the recent arrest of 7 suspected members of a one-chance syndicate group allegedly responsible for terrorizing the capital city was made possible through strategic intelligence gathering, surveillance, and targeted interventions. The FCT Commissioner of Police says that significant items were recovered, including 8 vehicles, 109 phone memory cards, and several other belongings within the last week.
7 different groups of people operating one chance have been arrested. In all, last week and this week, the total number of vehicles gotten from operators of one chance is 13. 3 different groups operating with POS are among the ones arrested. The POS are here for you to see. 5 laptops were recovered from them. These laptops were robbed from passengers who fell victims to them. 3 phones of different makes, $203 recovered from them.
The police also revealed that a common threat among the vehicles used by the arrested syndicates is the use of tinted windows, which they use to conceal their activities.
If we have 109 memory cards removed from phones, that is equivalent to 109 phones collected from victims of one chance. There is a common denominator in the vehicles gotten from one chance. All the vehicles recovered from them are tinted. All the vehicles recovered from operators of one chance, 13 of them, they are right there behind you for you to inspect, are all tinted.
During the interrogation, some suspects provided chilling details about their operations, explaining how they trick unsuspecting victims to rob them of their valuables.
If person come inside motor, where he enter inside motor, you go to tell and say, shift. From there, they remove in kaya. Before the driver go tell her, give him price, you go drop. So you go. The price now, the way Maraba na 200, if you say 500, 600, person go do anoint, you go drop.
You get oga. Yes, sir. Now me game motor, I don't know how far, but as I follow them, if you hold anything for lefty, if you enter motor as in last passenger, 3 for back. Yes, sir. Then you where they come now as in passenger, and you go complete them 4. Then the oga, the workman himself, and I go remove it for lefty pocket.
The police commissioner, while expressing regrets for the inconveniences experienced by citizens in the course of their operations, urged the residents to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities to the police. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
Staying with security matters, in line with the mandate and directives of the new Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, troops of 3 Division and Operation Safe Haven have captured a notorious kidnap kingpin at their hideout in Plateau State. Speaking during a press briefing at the Operation Safe Haven headquarters in Jos, the Media and Information Officer of Operation Safe Haven announced that this success was achieved as part of the activities under Operation Golden Peace within the Operation Joint Areas. News Center's Chizoba Anyowe has more.
It is harvest season for farmers in Nigeria, as well as the Yuletide period. However, research shows a rise in criminal activities during this time of the year, leading to loss of lives and property. This pressing challenge prompted the launch of Operation Golden Peace, aimed at combating insecurity and ensuring safety for all. Troops of 3 Division and Operation Safe Haven have conducted several successful operations under this initiative. Just last week, these efforts led to the rescue of 25 kidnapped victims in Kaduna State, among other achievements. This latest operation has resulted in the arrest of a notorious kidnap kingpin who had been on the run.
During the operation, security agencies captured the target identified as Mohammed Musa, also known as Maman, alongside his collaborator, Malam Al-Aisan Samaila. A thorough search at the hideout of the kidnap kingpin led to the recovery of 439 rounds of 7.62 millimeter special ammunition, carefully concealed in a 4 liters engine oil gallon.
With improved and increased combat enablers from the Defense and Army headquarters, Plateau will be more peaceful, devoid of criminal activities.
3 Division and Operation Safe Haven is totally committed to ensuring the security of lives and property within the joint operations area in line with the operational mandate of Operation Golden Peace, with additional critical combat enablers recently deployed by the Chief of Defense Staff and the Chief of Army Staff to further enhance operations, especially on the plateau.
With these measures put in place, a more secure harvest and peaceful Yuletide will be achieved in Plateau State, as well as within the 3 division and Operation Safe Havens Operation Joint areas. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyui.
Still ahead, at least 15 killed, 64 wounded in El Fasher. Stay with us. At least 15 persons have been killed and more than 64 wounded as the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, shelled the city of El Fasher at a camp for displaced persons in Sudan's North Darfur state. The RSF has intensified attacks on the Zamzam camp, located 12 kilometers south of El Fasher, since December 1. Claiming it harbors members of the Joint Armed Forces, the camp houses nearly 1 million people displaced by conflict. According to a statement from North Darfur Health Ministry, the dead include 5 children and 10 women. Witnesses say the RSF fired numerous long-range artillery shells at the camp, setting fire to makeshift homes. Dozens of residents fled to the villages of Shira and Kulu, south of the city, while others sought refuge in the city center. Let's join our business desk now for today's update.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Bidfirst Group, listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, has announced the sale of its entire banking business to Nigeria's Access Bank for approximately 2.8 billion rand, or $56 million. The deal, disclosed via a SENS statement on Thursday, is pending regulatory approvals, which are expected to take 6 months, with a likely effective date before the current financial year's close. Bidfirst, a diversified group with interests in financial services, freight management, and automotive and cleaning sectors, initially revealed plans to sell Bidfirst Bank and FinGlobal, its financial migration business, in July 2024. Following the announcement, Bidfirst's share price rose by 1.20%, trading at 282.45 rand as of 11:30 on Thursday. Ghana's President-elect John Dramani Mahama has committed to revising the country's agreements with development partners to better reflect the nation's priorities. During a meeting with UN Resident Coordinator Charles Abani, Mahama highlighted the need for partnerships aligned with his administration's vision. The Presidential Transition Act 2012, Act 845, mandates the establishment of a transition team within 24 hours of election results, ensuring a smooth handover. Mahama plans swift discussions with the IMF and the World Bank to realign ongoing initiatives, including Ghana's $3 billion IMF extended credit facility and $500 million World Bank-funded projects. Emphasizing economic stability, Mahama underscored the importance of managing debt while fostering productive collaborations to address Ghana's current challenges and aspirations. Ivory Coast's cocoa grind increased by 16.1% year-on-year in November 2024, reaching 60,694 metric tons, according to data from Exporter Association GPEX. The cumulative grind for the 2024-2025 season stood at 119,777 tons by the end of November, a 1.6% rise compared to the same period last season. GPEX data represents 6 of the largest cocoa grinding companies, including Barry Callebaut,
Olam, and Cargill. With a total grinding capacity of 712,000 tons, Ivory Coast remains the world's leading cocoa producer, competing closely with the Netherlands with the top spot in cocoa grinding. This surge in production highlights Ivory Coast's pivotal role in meeting global demand for processed cocoa products. Finally, China announced plans on Thursday to expand its budget deficit, increase debt issuance, and adopt looser monetary policies to stabilize its economic growth, anticipating heightened trade tensions with the United States as Donald Trump returns to the White House. The decisions emerged from the annual Central Economic Work Conference held in December between 11 and 12. Facing a property market crisis, high local government debt, and weak domestic demand, China's economy is grappling with significant challenges, including potential U.S. tariff hikes threatening its export sector. The CEWC's pledges echo a recent Politburo statement, marking one of the most dovish economic policy outlooks in over a decade, as China aims to navigate complex domestic and international pressures. And that's all on business news. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
And in sports, Super Eagles, Super Falcons make final shortlist for CAF Team of the Year. Meanwhile, in fencing, Team Nigeria name scored for the 2024 Men's Junior EP World Cup. Favor Itua has more.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
And in sports, the Nigerian Fencing Federation has unveiled a 7-man squad for the 2024 Men's Junior EP Fencing World Cup set for December 14th to 15th at Charterhouse, Lagos. Leading the team is former African cadet and national junior champion, 17-year-old Wisdom Okonlawo, boasts international experience from the 2022 African Championships. Making his international debut is 15-year-old Kibati Opasonya, the national school vice champion. Others on the roster include Oluwasemilore Fashola, Forhad Mustafa, Olumuyiwa Ige, Badi Martins, and Ramadan Sumon. Coach Ibrahim Alogba has expressed confidence in the squad's potential. Meanwhile, some participating athletes and teams have started arriving ahead of the kickoff on Saturday, December 14th. And out to football, Nigeria's senior national teams, the Super Falcons and Super Eagles, have been named finalists for the CAF National Team of the Year. The Super Eagles earned their spot after an impressive AFCON 2023 campaign, defeating Cameroon, Angola, and South Africa before falling to host Ivory Coast in the final. They faced competition from Ivory Coast and South Africa. The Super Falcons were shortlisted after representing Africa at the Olympics, where they battled Brazil, Spain, and Japan in the group stages. They will compete against Morocco and South Africa's Bayana. Meanwhile, Super Eagles goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali failed to make the cut for the final three for Men's Goalkeeper of the Year. The final three has Cameroon's Andre Onana, South Africa's Ronwe Williams, and Ivory Coast's Yohia Fofana. The ceremony will be held in Marrakesh, Morocco on Monday, December 16. Still talking football, Nigeria's senior women national team, the Super Falcons, will kick off their qualification campaign for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in October 2025 through the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. The Confederation of African Football CAF conducted the draws for the qualifiers in Cairo, Egypt on Thursday. The Super Falcons will face either Benin Republic or Sierra Leone in the second round. A win for the nighttime African champions in the two-legged encounter will secure a place at Morocco 2026 WAFCON, where Africa's top 4 teams will earn tickets to the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in Brazil. Nigeria's under-17 women's national team, the Flamingos, have been handed a bye in the first round of the 2025 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup qualifiers following Thursday's draw by the Confederation of African Football CAF in Cairo, Egypt. The Flamingos, semi-finalists at the 2022 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in India, will begin their qualification journey in the second round. They are set to face the winner of the first round clash between South Africa and Gabon in March 2025. A victory in the two-legged tie will see Nigeria progress to the third round, where Africa's 4 representatives for the global tournament will be decided in April 2025. And to wrap up Sports Update, the Federal Capital Territory Abuja will host the 2024 Annual General Assembly of the Nigeria Women Football League on Tuesday, December 17, 2024. Modupe Shabi, NWFL Chief Operating Officer, confirmed on Thursday that all arrangements have been finalized for a crucial meeting aimed at advancing women's football in Nigeria. Key stakeholders, including board members and representatives from Premiership and Championship clubs, will assess the 2023-24 season's achievements and challenges. Edo Queens claimed their first NWFA Premiership title, while Oni Badgers and the Bomangels secured promotion from the championship. The AGA will also set the calendar for the 2024-25 season, focusing on enhancing league operations, maintaining credibility, and driving the league's growth. And that wraps it up on Sports Update, and Favor Itwa.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
Up next is entertainment news.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Tonight on Entertainment News, with the year coming to an end, veteran Nigerian musicians Alex O and Kofi Idowu have commented on Afrobeat music released this year and the impact of its globalization.
There's been more of propaganda online musically this year, and I'm happy that the ladies are actually meeting up. You can see that Thames, she's getting more features abroad, still flying the flag. Tiwa even had to come, swing into some reggae just to, and then Yemi Alade getting the Grammy nomination. So the music is just being wavy right now. And then some of the old cats are coming back to show that, okay, yes, we can still hold it down. The band releasing an album, Olamide releasing heavy singles, Rugged Man releasing an album, Timaya dropping, everybody, Two-Face bringing out a single that's just shutting it down everywhere. So Style Plus working with Spyro, all of that is encouraging to see that, okay, there's now a fusion between the young and the old and the new, and everybody's trying to find a balance.
There's a reason why about 4 or 5 of them are consistently, in the news trending, and that means they're working harder than the others, So we hope that the coming year will be a whole lot better, and a lot more artists will bend down to the hard work itself, because that's the most important part of it.
With everyone loving the work that has been done this year, it's also important to note that Afrobeats failed to push out any new acts this year. But one can say that's the least of our problems, as there's also the issue of performance royalties and younger artists not engaging with Nigerian collection management organizations.
Non-challenge towards CMOs is because, in all honesty, even the CMOs are not totally abreast with modern trends and what's happening, how these guys are seeing the figures and how the things are working on social media levels. So until the CMOs are able to come at par, because the guys know what obtains in royalties on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, and but CMOs are still running the same, templates from way back. We must get royalties from certain people who use music. But now these boys know we can make money direct.
I advocate, like any other profession, like any other work somebody wants to do, try and learn a little bit, learn a little bit of what you have to do to be able to put music together so that it can make sense to a lot of people out there. I'm referring to the younger ones that are coming up.
Entertainment anchor and reporter for News Central Sam Dandy got hitched to his longtime sweetheart Oyindamola Olabode yesterday, Wednesday, December 11th, in a private wedding in Lekki, Lagos. The wedding started with the exchange of vows, with the officiating minister giving a short sermon. After that, it transitioned into a fun-packed reception with attendance from friends and colleagues. The after-party was nothing short of amazing, with many high points from singing, dancing, a musical wheelchair, and more. That's all on Entertainment Tonight.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
And that is all tonight. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Establishment of state police in Nigeria receives major support as 36 state governors present their position to NEC. President Tinubu to present 2025 budget to joint session of the National Assembly on Tuesday. Troops of 3 Division Nigerian Army capture kidnapped kingpin in Jos Plateau State. We also brought you news that at least 15 persons have been killed in RSF's shelling of El Fasher in Sudan. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms for updates as well. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.